All right, so CRL has just finished. I played the last match like 2 minutes ago. I ended up going 7-3, which a couple people qualified by being 7-3, but I didn't have enough of a set differential, like enough points in a set differential to qualify, unfortunately. So yeah, I was basically one win off. I'm just gonna show you guys this match against this guy named ARI. He's a pretty good player. Don't know who he is exactly, but it was a very good match, so I just wanted to showcase it. I was too nervous, not necessarily nervous, but too focused to record the game live, and I kind of want to go over a replay anyway because it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to just describe what I'm doing and like why I'm doing it. So first game, my 4 sets that I pretty much stuck with the whole time were Lava Hound, this deck right here, obviously, and then RG, and then I also had Ice Bow, of course, and then my last deck was a Mortar deck. It was like Mortar, Archer Queen, Valkyrie. Kind of just threw that one in there. I didn't really use that one too much, but yeah. So we're going with the first game is a Lava Mirror matchup right here. So this is very interesting. Obviously, I'm not a Lava Hound one-trick, so I'm not really too positive on how to play this in this situation, but I end up just going for the Lava Hound early here. He kind of wastes his Barbarian, so I'm like, okay, I can go for a free Lava. We bait out his eye drag. Well, I didn't know he had eye drag before he played that, so it was kind of a unfortunate sequence there. But right here is actually a pretty good, pretty good recognition by me. I know he doesn't have his barbs in cycle, so I'm like, okay, he doesn't have too much for the ground, right? I go for the flying machine, and then barbs at the bridge, and then miner in the back. And even though my barbs don't really do too much because he has the cage, the miner in the back gets like 700-800 damage, which is actually pretty impressive. For one miner, because obviously everything else was tanking for it. So we give up one Mega Minion hit, but it pretty much just evens out both towers. And I'm like, okay, so I'm already back to Lava Hound in 1 card, so I just go ahead and cycle the Skelly Drags. The second I see him place his Lava Hound down, I go with mine as well. Obviously, he's got the eye drag back in cycle, but I can't just sit back and let him build a push. I think you have to play more aggressive in mirror matchups. Not too sure, but that's just what I've noticed, I guess. So I go for the eye drag up high just to kill his Lava Hound immediately, as quick as possible right there. I think he goes for the miner here. Let's see, yeah, he does. So I just go for the flying machine, I believe, yeah. And then I go tombstone up high, which is fine, because I don't really need the tombstone in this matchup. He doesn't have a balloon or anything. And the cage is a little bit annoying for me to deal with. It doesn't get him too much value, but it just kind of sits there and makes it awkward for me. So I just go for another set of Skelly Drags in the back here. He plays a really interesting Lava. I don't know about that one. So I just go for the barbs at the river, then go for the eye drag right away. And as soon as this pops, the timing's really good on this. I drop the arrows, kill all the pups pretty much, and then we have a nice like Inferno Dragon and Skelly Drags at the bridge. The evolved barbs get a couple shots as well that I played earlier on there, and then I just reset in the back, go with the flying machine, and keep pressuring the bridge with lavas. I never really want to let him get into a situation where he can control the pace, so I just go for a miner there. Played it a little bit too early, unfortunately, so a little bit of a mistake by me, but nothing detrimental. So I just go for the eye drag once again. It's pretty much impossible to counter the eye drag for both of us, so that's the card to get the most value. Skelly Drags are very nice because I don't need to play arrows on the lava pups after I place those down, so I just go for another flying machine here in the middle, and then I just keep pressuring the bridge with the lava, I believe. Yeah. And then obviously he played his eye drag all the way in the back. He tries to support his Mega Minion with the lava, but at this point it's like, okay, I just need a couple hundred damage, and I'm not taking any damage from his push. Another nice arrows just to wipe off his Skelly Drags and his Lava Hound. So yeah, just getting a ton of value out of all of my support troops right now is the main key. So he goes for a desperation push over here on this right lane, so I just go for the barbs. Unfortunately, his are evolved though, so I do have to respond with the flying machine as well. He goes for the lava in the back on the left, and I was like, okay, I don't know about that. I think I just drop a Lava Hound as well. No, I don't. I go for the eye drag. Okay. What did I do here? Tombstone in the middle, I remember. Yeah. And then I just went ahead and arrowed everything because the Lava Hound popped, and we also hit the barbs, so it was just a ton of value. Nothing he could really do. As soon as he arrowed, I played the evolved barbs at the river, and then we placed the lava in front of both the Inferno Dragon and the Skelly Drags. And at that point, I knew it was GG's. There's no way he's defending this push, so I'm just going to speed it up into 2 times speed just to finish off this game. Nothing he could do. We had 4 Skelly Drags down at the end of that game. So yeah, nice start going up 1-0. I go for this Mortar Hug Valkyrie deck with the Archer Queen in it. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's a decent deck, but it doesn't have a great way to kill Royal Giant, which is unfortunately what I do end up facing here. So he goes for the Fisher first play. As soon as he does that, I know, okay, he's playing Royal Giant. So I just cycled the Valkyrie in the back. Could also play this deck with Mighty Miner, I guess. I didn't think about that. But I feel like Valkyrie's pretty solid overall. I'm just going to go for the Queen ability here, I think, in a second, if I'm not mistaken. No, he just fireballs. Oh, that Queen ability actually does work. I go for the Hog Guards because I know he doesn't have too much elixir right there, and it's going to kind of force him into an awkward situation. I thought maybe I'd get more damage from that Hog, but he does have the Fisherman back in cycle. So I pretty much just messed up counting cycle right there. So I get the 2 Hog hits, but right here I do have to be a little bit careful. As you can see, he's got the RG selected in his hand, so I just go ahead and play a Valk on top of the Fisher and tank a couple Ghost Shots on the left, which does give him the lead, but, you know, sometimes you just have to take some damage in situations so you don't get down too much elixir. I think I just go for the Snowball right here. This is kind of an awkward situation, what happens next, because I play my Ice Spirit on the left thinking, okay, this Phoenix is just going to die, and then he just spams Skelly's E-Spirit the river, so I'm kind of forced to go with the Queen, which is very, very unfortunate. I did not want to play my Queen out of cycle like that, but I think he ends up going with the RG at the river here, yeah. I popped the Queen ability early, and it takes out the majority of this RG, actually, but I still go for the defensive Mortar. Honestly, could have gone ahead and not if I wanted, but, like, as you see right there, the Ghost, like, nudged to the side of the RG, so I thought it was going to go to my tower. That's the only reason I put the guards down right there, so yeah. Couple unfortunate interactions that I just really couldn't tell what was going to happen. That's why I responded the way I did. But I just go ahead and snowball this Phoenix once again, and this time we do have the Ice Spirit in cycle, so looking pretty okay right now. Just going to cycle a Valk in the back to match his Ghost, obviously, and yeah, we're pretty much reset, basically even on damage as well. We're playing the Mortar in the out of Fireball position, and then I think I just go for a Queen at the river here, if I'm not mistaken. I go for the guards first, and then I go for Queen, and then Hog immediately, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So after this, I just go for the Ice Spirit to freeze the Phoenix, try and get my Hog Rider on tower. Unfortunately, he does have the King Tower activation, so it is a little bit more difficult for me to get Hog hits. But I just popped the Queen ability here on top of that Ghost, go for the Valkyrie on top of the RG and the guards. And you would think Valkyrie guards can take out an RG, right? No, this thing literally gets 1-2 shots, and at this point I'm like, what in the world? Kind of panicking a little bit. Go for the defensive Mortar. This time it is evolved, and this is a pretty good defense right here. Nice Ice Spirit timing to just freeze everything up. And then we go for the late guards, and I'm like, okay, this time there's just no chance. Still gets a hit. I mean, what can you even do at that point, right? I just go for a Hog because I'm pretty pissed off at this point. I'm like, really? I think I literally was like raging mid-game right here. So I do kind of overcommit with that Earthquake right there, and I think that is eventually why I end up losing this game. I go for the Ice Spirit on top of the RG, but at this point I don't have enough for the Mortar, and that pretty much cost me, yeah, not too much I can do. I actually did make this very, very close at the end, but he does end up pulling this one out. Spoiler alert. So I go for the Prediction Queen, hit the RG, which is really nice, and for some reason my brain just wasn't focused on the Queen, and I never popped the ability, so that was a pretty big mistake right there. But it wouldn't really have changed too much, I guess. I just go for the Valk on the right, get the Queen down, and then get the Mortar down to tank for the RG, obviously. It still gets a shot because, you know, that's just how this game is. I go for the Valkyrie in the middle, go for the Evolved Mortar, and the defenses I'm playing are very, very good, right? So I go for the Snowball on top of that. We get 1 Hog Shot, I believe. No, we don't. That was actually the part in the game where if I would have got that Hog Shot, then we could have potentially won. But yeah, we get 1 Hog hit here. Doesn't really change too much, though. I'm pretty much just down too much elixir at this point. And yeah, I did my best to come back, but still ended up getting overwhelmed by that Evolved RG. No matter what I place on top of it, it just feels like I can't do anything to kill it. So yeah, pretty rough matchup, and you guys know what I had to pull out for Game 3. It's been a while since I played Icepo, right, on my channel, so, you know, I had to bring it out for this 3rd game, and pretty much anytime I got into a 3rd game situation, it's just, I just have to pull this out. There's no, you know, there's no thought in my head that's like, oh, they're going to snipe me, because it's duels, right? They don't really have a perfect snipe, so I'm not really worried about any matchup. I think I'm decent enough to outplay a majority of counters as well, with Icepo, obviously. So I just go for the Tesla here. Dark Prince is pretty annoying, so I get the Knight down on top of that right away. And then we play a pretty good defense here. Look at the elixir right now. This is actually very important against decks like this. I know I'm down like 1-ish, but I don't really care because I already have the Ice Fizz coming down. I want him to have to defend without his Goblin Giant in cycle. And yeah, we're forcing out a ton of elixir from him right here. I think we end up getting a connection with this Tornado as well. He because we NATO all that together, and then he has to go for the late zap on 0, and just like that, we're up on damage, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that we're up on elixir, so he can't just spam me in single. The only way I really lose to these kind of decks is if they overwhelm me in single really quickly, which does happen more often than you would think. I suppose, one mistake can cost you the entire game, so you pretty much have to play flawlessly. I go ahead and cycle the Ice Fizz in the back, knowing his poison is out of cycle. Usually this deck has Fireball, not poison, but I think he already used Fireball in that RG deck, so yeah, he didn't have it to play with this, obviously. He goes for the bats up high here. I think I just Tesla'd the river. Yeah, go ahead and DPS that down pretty easily, and then Ice Wiz cleans that up. I go ahead and log this Goblin Gang. Not sure why he put it all in the same lane right there. And then I think he also, drops the Spear Goblins, so pretty big. Maybe a little bit of an overcommit by him with those, but I just go ahead and reset in the back. He goes for the Prince in the opposite lane, which is completely fine with me. I'm the one that wants him to go opposite lane, so not really too sure why he ended up doing this, but he goes for the aggressive Goblin Giant at the river once more. I get the evolved skeletons on top of the Prince. He goes ahead and zaps those, but this is a very key moment in the game. I know that I'm going to take some damage from this left side, but I don't overcommit with the Tornado. I just go ahead and drop an Expo at the river, knowing his Goblin Giant is not up in cycle. And then he panics, thinking I was going to NATO his Dark Prince back and get the lock on. So he drops a Goblin Gang, and just like that, he does not have enough elixir to defend. I thought that Prince was in range at first, so that's why I played the NATO. But yeah, just small interactions like that. I could have also been really quick with my Skellies and got, made that Prince jump over the river so my Expo would retarget, but I wasn't fast enough there, unfortunately. I just go ahead and drop another Expo, and at this point I need to keep him in my cycle, cannot allow him to pressure me. So I go ahead and Knight immediately, and it helps DPS down this. These kind of plays right here, like I'm about to do, the little log NATOs, are very, very important because you look how much damage this Expo is getting, right? It gets like 500-600 damage on tower when you would expect it to get none. So plays like this can definitely just change a matchup completely. I go ahead and drop another Expo because I know his Goblin Giant is one more card out of rotation. Drop the Knight at the river because he's got to go Goblin Giant. He has no choice. I think he does poison this as well. Plays a pretty good defense on this one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I go for a log last second, actually, and get another lock on. Yeah, we do. I get like another 250 damage right there, which is massive. Brings me into just a couple rocket range, but I know that this deck is super, super high pressure, and I can't really just rocket cycle him whenever I feel like it. So I think he goes Goblin Giant the river here. Yeah, he plays a weird Goblin Giant. I don't know. I know I could put a Tesla all the way over here since the Goblin Giant was placed at the river. And then he just gets absolutely melted right there by the evolved Skellies. Go for the offensive Expo on 0 before... and he doesn't even realize that the Dark Prince isn't in range in time. So we get the connection once again. At this point, it's already game. He's just panicking, spamming things at the river to try and stop this Expo, because somehow you would think he could defend, right? But I just managed to keep getting connections over and over and over. Little small connections and add up really fast, especially with Expo. So I go ahead and Tornado just to make sure the Goblin Giant doesn't do anything crazy. Hit him with a good game, and then all we need to do is cycle back to another Tornado to finish off the game. Leave him on 2 HP with that log, go for the Knight, and then NATO to finish it off. Pretty much flawless gameplay right there with Icebo, which is what you love to see, right? I haven't played it in like a week, but I still got the flawless defenses and the perfect timing on everything. So yeah, I ended up going 7-3, 1 win off of qualifying, which is very unfortunate, but I think I played my best. I also lost the first game because I didn't check in time, so that was pretty unfortunate. But still wanted to post the video, and hopefully next month I can qualify. It's going to be like my last chance before college. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.